Deep in the forest of eastern Burma, at least 20,000 villagers from the Karen ethnic minority are fleeing some of the worst attacks in 10 years by the military dictatorship that rules Burma. Over 1 million people across Burma have been displaced by continual violence over the past 2 decades. "3,000 villages in eastern Burma have been destroyed, forcibly relocated or abandoned in the past 10 years, nearly one every day, as part of a brutal campaign of repression and counterinsurgency. The repressive policies of the Burma regime have created massive refugee flows, half a century of internal conflict, and widespread human rights abuses. The continual violence and instability pose a threat to regional peace and security in the heart of Southeast Asia. Politicians and civil society groups across Asia and the world are beginning to call for action by the United Nations Security Council and Burma's fellow ASEAN members.
Of CACOM is Honorable Dr. Joko Susilo. Dr. Joko Susilo is the head of the ASEAN Interparliamentary Myanmar Caucus Indonesia. He is also a member of parliament from India. She is from the Kachin Women Association, also the member of the Women League of Burma.
Thailand is one of the countries which is most aware of the issues of the threat that the regime, the military regime in Burma poses to the whole region and to regional security. As has already been mentioned by my colleague in Indonesia, there are at least 3 million official and unofficial refugees in the region, Burmese refugees in the region. But within Burma itself, there are at least 1 million displaced peoples.
In November 2005, at the start of the dry season, the Burmese army launched a series of deadly offensives against ethnic Karen areas in eastern Burma. These attacks have continued through the rainy season, displacing at least 20,000 people and leaving villagers with no opportunity to tend their crops. Consequently, they are likely to face food shortages for years to come. The displaced live in makeshift camps in the forests and fields, suffering food shortages and disease. Many of their homes have been burned to the ground by the Burmese army. Once a village has been destroyed, troops do not leave the area. They patrol searching for the villagers and hidden food stores to destroy.
takura lili ba heavy ngai force ki ba piyo yo ai so taki ala taki ko ki le gal da be uma so le.
The situation in Burma echoes that of the world's worst disaster zones. Child mortality figures in eastern Burma are similar to the war crisis in Africa. 1 in 5 children dies before their 5th birthday. This is a direct consequence of the action of the military government of Burma. On the run, villagers live in constant fear and with no security. Discovery by the Burmese army can mean forced labor, forced relocation, and even execution. Women and girls face the threat of rape, with cases widely documented in these areas. This man was forced to work as a porter, then executed.
Ni khile bwa woni loga di ton ule ta ko ra khe pur kha ne so ne se bu ba ba phodi po sa se ba ne ba tro lo se ri to ri lo ta chi ta to me ge phodi po sa la ho a ko se ri ba me ge ne ba ta tro kha de ke ro ta ko ra khe le phodi po sa se ri ba ko khomya ta se ble ro le not mi ba ni bu ko mi le ta se ble bu mi de bu ba bu ba mi phu lo ta na nya ta ga ma ta ro pa di le Kem chini dagma ta do pa di le ni ola le pa ko ade ata chok mo khunu ko ga de la ko ni mita ko ra khele bo du ma lo.
Desperately hungry, people sneak back to their villages to retrieve food from their hidden stores. Without crops for the next year, survival will become more and more difficult. They have survived past offensives and rebuilt their homes, communities, and lives. They do not want to leave their homes, but now they will have to flee to safety outside Burma. Even if they do return to their villages to scavenge for what they can, they risk stepping on the mines laid by the Burmese army.
Cái phê khứ đây này, bây giờ heo, bây giờ mà vào chứ.
Nè, bây giờ xin thi bảo ta có ta kem như thế vậy.
Anh làm thi bảo đây này, đây bây giờ là phố Hà Nội bên này khu ở bên này. Ai bên đâu rồi? Bên này là khu bên này chào khu ở bên mình này thì ham mà phải cái.
Faced with no alternative, many villagers set off for the relative safety of the border and dependence of the tolerance of neighboring Thailand. (3,500) villagers have decided to flee to Meramat Luang, a refugee camp along the Thai-Burma border. Over 1,000 are already waiting on the banks of the Salawi River on the Burmese side of the border. Many more will flee as the attacks in eastern Burma continue. The people of Burma have faced over 40 years of brutal repression. In 1997, the year Burma joined ASEAN, there were 210,000 refugees and asylum seekers in neighboring countries. Today, almost 750,000 live as refugees, 500,000 more are displaced in Burma, and 1 million may live as undocumented migrants in Thailand alone. As Burma spirals into ever deeper repression, poverty and health crisis, the people of Burma ask that their region and the world recognize that international action is needed to ensure an end to human rights abuses, adequate humanitarian aid, and a political solution.
I would like to see a stronger ASEAN. ASEAN with more teeth, more like a tiger, fighting for democracy, fighting for human rights, ensuring that it takes an active hand in trying to seek some kind of a binding resolution.
We have a principle of non-interference, but let's say if you have neighbor and your neighbor put on fire on their own house and the house has been destroyed and will spill over to our house, of course we have to prevent that the house will not spill over to anywhere, and of course if possible we put down the fire on the house.
Dito de betul de bayu babo betul de babli babu letar dia goni bom sepuluh ni megitu kleda lebu ketil kled bobo sikoa tu kleda lebu miti ni macam lala wati pagi tu kleda lebu eda tid juga gone lebu bakimu haplo lebu batu bakhoda koko kekena na poti de paila tu kli lam.